Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Friday the 13th of September 2024, and yes, gold has hit its all-time high and silver has exceeded $30. We told you so, and only a few thousand people will be aware because that is how many watched our channel. What has happened and what will happen next? Let's take a look. Okay, in a moment we'll take a look at the financial data and prices and see if we can understand where we go from here. But before we do that, just to show you we're not making this stuff up, please look at any of the 5 videos we published this past week. On Saturday, our weekly update where we said gold would reach $2,575 and silver $30. Well, gold has hit $2,571 and silver's exceeded $30 by as much as 35 cents so far. Then on Sunday, this was repeated in our video entitled Gold and Silver Moves This Week Financial Assessment. On Tuesday, we published why gold could reach all-time highs this week. That was then repeated later in the day towards the evening with the video entitled Gold Bonanza All-Time High Soon. And then yesterday we published a video Inflation, Precious Metals and Interest Rate Predictions and Effects. Now I've put the link to all of these in the description box below. However, unfortunately combined, these 5 videos have only received 3,650 views between them. In other words, an average of around 600 views each or just above. The most important week probably of the year, and 600 views per video. Idiots who were claiming gold will reach $10,000 and silver $600 and have been publishing this garbage for 10 or more years get hundreds of thousands of views. We have an accuracy rate week on week of well over 90% and potentially as high as 95%, and yet very few watch or listen to us. This is a tragedy, but yet we still endure. Now that said, let's take a look at what the markets have been doing. Okay, let's take a look at what's been happening to the gold and silver prices. Now tomorrow we have our weekly update where we will cover other aspects of the market as well. But today we're focusing on gold and silver. Well, gold closed on Friday at $2,498. It's now $2,572. So that is actually up $74 since Friday's close. And you can see on this chart, which I shall make a little larger, look at this rise as of yesterday afternoon, almost vertical. Looking at silver, silver's currently $30.18. It's been as high as $30.35, and we see a similar picture. Thursday afternoon, vertical. Now silver closed on Friday at $27.94, so it is essentially up $2.24 so far. Okay, so let's look at what's been reported this week, and we did say watch the CPI figures. CPI year over year down from 2.9 to 2.5%. Now the core CPI blipped up 0.1% for August, which means that the year-over-year figure remains at 3.2. So that was a little disappointing. And as a result of that, of course, the concern that people will have is, has inflation been well and truly beaten? Well, yesterday, the jobless claims came in slightly higher than anticipated, but the PPI, also the producer price index, came in slightly higher than the previous month, but more or less in line with expectations, except for the core PPI. But year over year, the net effect is that the normal PPI rate has now fallen from 2.2 to 1.7, and the core PPI from 3.3 to 3.2. Now, this is important because the PPI tends, it's not directly fixed, but tends to give an indication of future inflation rate. And so as a result, we can see quite a dramatic fall in the normal rate and a core rate at 3.2%. Briefly looking at the dollar index, we can see that's just below 101. So you may ask, then, if that data's not that wonderful, why have we got a situation whereby gold has jumped so high? Well, there are also geopolitical issues. Russia expels 6 British diplomats as East-West tensions rise over Ukraine missiles. Russia's FSB security service said on Friday it had revoked the accreditation of 6 British diplomats in Moscow after accusing them of spying and sabotage work, signaling the Kremlin's anger at what it sees as London's vital role in helping Ukraine. Also, didn't help when North Korea shows its first photos of banned uranium enrichment site. North Korea, for the first time, shows images of the centrifuges that produce fuel for its nuclear bombs on Friday, as leader Kim Jong-un visited a uranium enrichment facility and called for more weapons-grade material to boost the arsenal. Now, each of those will have an impact to help support precious metals, but it's what happened with regards to the European Central Bank. And the ECB voiced confidence on inflation and rates. The European Central Bank's 2 biggest shareholders expressed confidence on Friday about the prospect for lower inflation and interest rates in the Eurozone. French Central Bank Governor Francois Villeroy de Galhau, if I've pronounced that surname correctly, and Bundesbank President Joachim Nagel backed Thursday's rate cut because the ECB cut rates yesterday, and struck a more confident tone than at any point of the last 2 years that the ECB's fight against high inflation has been won. And they are anticipating inflation to come down to 2% by the end of next year. So obviously, with the UK rates having come down, the ECB rates having come down, it is almost a foregone conclusion that US rates will also now come down. So essentially, what gave gold and silver its fillip yesterday was the ECB's decision to cut interest rates. This augurs well for next week's FOMC decision. In addition, the global tensions that are occurring, particularly between Ukraine, Russia, the UK now, as well as the United States, is going to keep gold pinned at these slightly elevated levels. Now, of course, we've mentioned previously, the markets tend to buy the rumor, sell the result, and this may very well happen. But with geopolitical tensions the way they are, and perhaps every Western society now predicting lower rates, coupled with lower inflation, it would be a very, shall we say, it will be a very brave person to suggest that precious metal prices will fall significantly from this level. And already we are seeing traders stating not only will 2,600 be reached this year, but we could venture close to $2,700 territory for gold and perhaps $32 for silver. Tomorrow we'll give our prediction for next week. Until then, have a great day. Thank you for listening. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign, and we'll see you tomorrow.